So how do tech product companies actually develop a competitive moat? And how is that likely to change in a world where generative AI creates this abundance of knowledge and capability? In my previous video, I talked about the blue ocean strategy metaphor for this idea that a lot of markets are hyper competitive. There are a lot of companies with similar product offerings, all sort of trying to eke out marginal advantage to get ahead. But if you can find a way of realizing value in a new and innovative way, then you can chart that great blue ocean and you can get out ahead and create this moat of water that your competition just can't pass. It's just unassailable or really, really difficult to get through. How does that actually work in a practical sense? What do you have to do? Well, the first thing, you have to keep moving, right? You have to keep developing new features, making your product more complete and more refined. You have to make it better and better over time, such that when your customers are assessing you versus the potential rival, the potential competition, you're just the obvious choice, right? Your solution is more complete, it's more refined, it's just a better solution. Because if you do stop and you do think, oh, great, we've got that product now, it's a really good product, and we're going to put that on the shelf, and we've got a great company now, eventually they will catch you and they will surpass you, and where does that leave you? That's no moat. The next thing is, as we know, it's not enough just to create your widget, put it on the shelf, and expect your customers to come and self-serve. Like, you can do that. You'll make some sales. Maybe it'll be good for a while, but there's no competitive moat there. You're not gonna take over an entire market and really dominate by doing things that way. We know that we have to reach out and we have to help our customers understand the progress that our product can help them make, right? Through marketing and sales and support, because especially if it's an innovative product, maybe we're solving problems that they didn't even realize that they had. So what do both of these aspects have in common, and how does that relate to AI? I think it really comes down to effort and time. It takes a certain amount of effort over a certain amount of time to develop great products. It takes market research, design, engineering. There's a lot of effort that goes into that. And it takes time and effort to capture market share through great marketing and sales and support. And that's a big investment, because these skills, the skills required to do that, are scarce. And if the amount of investment required for your competition to catch up with you doesn't actually yield the kind of return that justifies that investment in the first place, they're not going to do it. And that is what your moat looks like. But how does that change in a world where the scarcity of those skills and the amount of time it takes to do these things is greatly diminished? Is there even still space for blue oceans? Well, I think there is, but I think it just lies in places that were less obvious, because up until now we had to weigh out the value of them against all kinds of other things, like these complicated, scarce, high effort activities. If we jump forward a few years and we look at what might be easily achievable by, say, 2030, for example, we can see already, based on the technology that's here now, things like research will be much more achievable. Deep research is amazing. It allows you to do in the space of a day what would previously have taken a week, and it's only going to get better. Engineering. Agentic coding agents already are showing massive promise. They're not quite there yet, but they're obviously going to get there. They're obviously at least going to make the engineering talent that you have vastly more efficient, vastly more capable, and then able to move faster, right? And in the marketing and sales space, clearly generative AI will make creating great marketing collateral more accessible to more people, and it will make it a lot cheaper than it was in the past. And in the sales space, you only have to look at the plays that companies like Salesforce are making to infuse generative AI into just every part of the process that they possibly can, because they can see the risk and they know they need to respond to get out ahead of it. So where are the opportunities then? Well, I think we have to really think about things that this technology probably isn't going to be very capable of, like proprietary data, for example, data that your customers' AI can't scrape because it's not publicly available, because it's yours. And not just data, but data paired with genuine human insight, with the kind of empathy that only comes from shared lived experience. I can't see an AI being able to commoditize that kind of value meaningfully, at least not within the next 5 years or so. And community and trust, when your customers genuinely bring you inside that circle of trust and make you a part of their lives such that they're some of your biggest advocates, I still think agentic AI is going to have a real uphill battle being able to build actual communities around your product in the same way that a great brand and a great sales support marketing team can do. I just don't see it happening, at least not within the next 5 years. And lastly, physical presence. Generative AI, agentic AI, it's still largely intangible. It's still largely digital. It exists in cyberspace and has very little physical presence. And as much as robotics are advancing at a really great rate, I still think if you pair your product offering with a physical offering, I think that is a much bigger hurdle for generative AI and agentic AI to really overcome in a meaningful way. So I think these three areas are the start of where our focus and investment will really begin to shift as we see AI commoditize a lot of knowledge and capability. And I'm really keen to continue digging into that and to see what that means. But I'm also really keen to hear from you if you think there's something I've missed or there's something I've misunderstood. Is there something that you're seeing, another area where you think we still have meaningful advantage over generative AI going forwards? And the thing I'm really keen to dig into next is moving on a bit from how this impacts businesses. It's how it impacts the people working for these businesses, how it impacts that employee dynamic, and what we can do as people to adapt our focus and get out ahead of the curve. I'm really looking forward to continuing that conversation. So thanks for coming along. See you next time.